Evening all. So today we have some interesting footage for you. It's all about tanks. It's tank day. Basically what we're going to do in this video is just look at some of the tanks. Firstly I'm going to show you my tank. This is my little tank. This is Pyrex's little tank. And to be honest with you, I suck at it. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm pretty crap at this. But I like it. I think tanks are pretty cool. It makes sense actually. You think about it. If you're a future technological group of people, of course you're going to fight with tanks. I basically drove this around for about 2 or 3 minutes and then got blown up by an AV grenade. So that shows how much I suck. Now, let's fast forward. Last night we played with some of the guys from the Kicking Dust channel. Guys, you're awesome. I love you all. And we played with a particular gentleman who will be featured throughout this, and that's his tank right there. So as you can see, this is basically probably one of the best tank pilots in the game. That's a bold statement, but I stand by it because this guy played for about 3 or 4 rounds and he was just absolutely unkillable. And he was really decent guy, actually, very open with his fits and basically just showing us how to do tank gunning properly. So and really all it was is just kind of rolling around, shooting stuff, and really just spotlight on what the tank can do. So Adapt and Kill is top dude. He really knows his stuff, and hopefully you can see he's got a really good fit on this tank, and really, yeah, he knows his stuff. So what we were doing really was just I think just rolling around trying to kind of dominate the map, and we were doing it in a bit more kind of style than just sitting there saying, haha, we're killing you. We were actually discussing in a very gentlemanly fashion how tanks change the entire map. Because you think about it, most of the maps that people play, it's not common that you get a tank in every single one. I mean a super tank. I don't mean like a militia tank. I mean like a proper top end tank. And I think it's interesting that they really are. I don't think they're actually overpowered, and I know I'm kind of retreating again from what I said, but let me explain. I spoke with Adapt and Kill obviously for quite some time, and when he was telling me that he's basically spent all of his skill points on the tank. So it's difficult to say it's overpowered when he's actually done the exactly right thing that you should do if you want to really own at this. So you get people who'll put every single skill point they have into sniping. So they could have sniper rifle operation level 5, sniper proficiency, blah blah blah, and what that means is they're just going to start basically one hit killing you with the best rifle in the game. Where is that any different to what this guy's doing with the tank? So I think it's difficult because I don't honestly feel that if there had been a few players who grouped up and got together and hit him properly, they would have killed him, but they didn't. And I think this is maybe something to discuss further in another time, but let's not consider that too much more now. So obviously just setting up the gang properly as well. So obviously doing defend orders gave more war points as well, just something to bear in mind. We did know about this, but usually we're so lazy we don't do it and we keep forgetting. But yeah, as you can see, this is a phenomenal tank and a good tank pilot, well, a really good tank pilot, probably one of the best. So yeah, if you're interested in coming playing with us, obviously I know I think some of you are a completely different time zone to me, so for that I do apologise. I will try and get on sort of late Euro or early, kind of, well, I guess middle America time zone as well. We'll do some games, but yeah, this was just a couple of guys from the Kicking Dust channel. We just said, anybody got a gang? I was like, yep, right, let's go. And this is what I love about the game. It is very easy and quick just to get into a squad and just start fighting and having some fun. And again, just constantly learning. I mean, this is really a tank spotlight. So what we were talking about really was the difference between the two types of tanks. You obviously have shield armor tanks, and you have shield tanking tanks, and you have armor tanking tanks. Not the easiest thing to say. And the difference between the two is actually quite interesting, because obviously the shield tanking tank is the one we're in here, and you can see it's got about sort of 6,800 shield, and that's pretty phenomenal when you think about it. But again, it's a lot of it is about the hardeners. We'll actually show some of the fits maybe in another video, because this is really just the action. But in terms of the way these fits are working, you need shield or armor adaptation skill to actually use the hardeners, and this is no different to Eve. Eve works on exactly the same way, where the basic ship you get out of the box, if you like, is not particularly great, and it's all about turning the resistances up. And you could do this by calling it effective hit points. So, for example, this tank currently has what about just under maybe 9,000 hit points, for example. So that's shielded armor. Now, the thing is, if you put then your shield hardeners on, you're reducing damage by 40%. So in reality, you actually have an effective hit points of probably almost 1,500, maybe a bit less, maybe a bit more. But do you see how it works? It's all about I mean, Eve literally is all about the resistances of your armor or shield. Don't ever tank both armor and shield, because you're just wasting module space. What you should be doing is selecting which you have the most skills for, or which you have the most skill to do. So you could have better skills to armor tank, but armor tanking means you have a slower tank generally. I think it means a bit more micromanagement as well, but generally you just have to have that capability of of getting the hell out of places. So and Adapting Kill was telling us at length that the majority of the skill of a tank is knowing when to get the hell out. But have a look at this. As we go over this crest of a hill, look how many people are here, and look how they scatter. And it's like lifting, the rock. It's like lifting a rock and seeing roaches underneath it. Literally, they don't know what to do. They're just like running away in fear. This is where tanks are absolutely critical. But the thing is, you can't hang around here, because we know that obviously these people are dying, and they're just going to spawn as an anti-tank fit. So this is why the ability to GTFO is actually probably the biggest thing you could learn from this video, and it's what I learned from Adapting Kill absolutely last night, was the ability of being a good tank pilot is not killing people, it's actually knowing when to get away. And it is actually also the evasion as well, because with things like the active nitro booster, which is the vehicle speed enhancer, that means you can actually get out a bit quicker as well. So there's a number of modules I think here that really are kind of key, I would probably say. And I think it really comes down to armor or shield hardeners, and they are things like the resistance mods. Go into the markets, vehicle modules, and have a look there in terms of armor or shield modules, and you'll see towards the bottom you'll see the armor hardeners, the resistance modules, and so on. And really what you're looking to do, and these are about 20%. They generally add 20% resistance to shield or armor. So to be honest, you need to probably fit 2 of them, but look at what you can do with it. Basically, this was just us, cocking around, and I think we got 4 orbital strikes in the space of the map as well. It was just a blast. It really was. It was literally a blast. We were just running around blasting people as best we could. Tanks don't win battles. It was again another good conversational topic. Was really just around you can have the best tank in the world, but if you don't have the squad around you who are capturing points and able to hold them as well, then eventually you're just going to lose. For attrition, you're just going to lose, because they'll just keep coming at you, and you'll either run out of clones, or you'll just have the MCC taken down. So it's not an I win button by any means. And I think that this was something, again, I mean, I'd never actually been in a tank driven by a pilot who was pro, driven by someone who really knew what they were doing. Because I'm usually on the receiving end of it, and I've always tried my best with my forged guns to kind of take these people out. But it was interesting just seeing, I think, really the skill behind these things. So this is why I probably am going to retreat from my point saying they're OP, because, well, yeah, they're powerful, but, in Eve, if you've got the best ship in the game, it doesn't mean you're going to win. You could still have the best. You could have a Titan in Eve, and you could lose it in 2 minutes because you're an idiot with it, or you don't understand it. I think that most of the tank community that use them continually, generally know what they're doing. And I think even then, there's still people who don't. So this is why I wouldn't say they're overpowered. I think it's the skill behind it. So here we go, great example. He's getting absolutely mullered there, so he knows when to retreat, and he knows when to pull back and get the hardeners working, and then force them to come at me, bro, again. And this is again the skill. This is why I would say, you know, the actual tank itself isn't OP. Oh, look at that lovely orbital once again. I think that was our third one, maybe fourth one. Love it. And I think these are just cool. And again, I would say, you know, I mean, to be honest, it's going to get to the point soon where people are going to have the ISK. I mean, if they ever link the EVE accounts with Dust, so you can send your EVE riches to your Dust buddies, then, you know, this is going to be a fact of life. So I would say everybody right now should start planning an anti-tank fit or an anti-tank tank. Do you know what I mean? Because I just think tanks are going to be a thing where everybody will spawn more than one in each map. I think eventually it's going to become, you know, you could have 5 versus 5 tanks, and that's going to be a real game changer. I mean, you know, given the cost of this tank, I think this tank was around 800k ISK each run, which is substantial for Dust. But, you know, considering in Dust, in EVE, most people have got billions of ISK, then they're not going to have any problem buying, you know, 1,000 of these and just sucking up the cost. Do you know what I mean? So there's going to have to be this kind of, you know, debate, I guess, or discussion, just to say, you know, is this okay? Is this going to be what it's going to be about? Because there was nothing stopping somebody from the enemy team spawning in a tank, an anti-tank tank, and taking us out, which they may have been able to do with, you know, a couple of forge gunners and so on. But you see here, you know, it's not invincible. He is taking quite a bit of damage, so you know, it's a tricky one to call. I would say probably, you know, these kind of fits, they, you know, they're very effective, but again, I'm probably going to say they're not overpowered. In terms of how to get this, you have to pretty much invest all of your skill into this. Now, he's not using any militia turrets either. He's using the proper skilled up heavy turrets as well. So, you know, in terms of the investment of skill, this is pretty much the pinnacle of what you can do with a tank character, let's say. So, you know, I think it's fair to say that he's probably earned this tank and this level of performance, because again, if you play as a heavy minigun at every map all the time, then you're going to become pretty good at it, and I think that's really all we're seeing here. Now, what I would love to see is a couple of court battles or something where we have like 5 or 6 of these tanks all fitted relatively similar with the same skilled pilot, fighting each other with a ground offensive. That's the kind of game that I'm hoping we get to see once people have more skill, once they have more ISK. Because think about it, that's exactly what would happen. You wouldn't have, like, you know, 32 mercenaries running each other with their assault rifles. You know, you would actually have dropships, tanks, LAVs, but, you know, being used more than just kamikaze things. You know, you would actually have a proper, you know, proper dust up, let's call it. And I think that's cool, because that's really going to be the next generation of this game, you know. And I think tanks are not particularly going to go anywhere. Even if they get nerfed pretty heavily, they're still going to be used, because it's not necessarily the fitting that's making this a very effective tool. It's actually the skill of the pilot. So, and you can't nerf a guy's skill generally, you know. As I say that, they probably can, but you see what I mean. So I still think there's always going to be tanks in this game. So if you don't like them, what I'd probably say is actually skill up the character with a forge gun and really put your skill into it. Or, which might be more fun for you, is to actually get yourself a tank and get in the tank. Because I think once you start to do that, you'll maybe appreciate actually how hard they are to drive. I certainly do, from my earlier jaunts, because I'm crap at it, but I know that over time I'm going to get better. So this is why, you know, it was great to drive with Adapts and Kill, and, you know, props to the dude. It was a pleasure to play with him this night. So look at that, incredible amount of skill point, incredible amount of ISK, and 44 kills. Oh my god, I don't ever want to fight Zion TCD in a court battle, because we'll lose. Hope you enjoyed that. See you.